Hello folks, and welcome back to my weekly review of the weekend's football in the English Premiership. I have before me my predictions that I made for the weekend previously's games, and I did terribly. So let's start at the top. I thought that Watford versus Everton would be a draw, and I was wrong. That finished Watford 3, Everton 2. Everton took the lead in the 17th minute from Romelu Lukaku, and then Watford equalised with Stefano Okachuka, and that was the half-time score, 1-1. In the second half, Sebastian Prudl made it 2-1, then Okachuka scored again to make it 3-1, and then at the very end of the match, in the 86th minute, Lukaku pulled a goal back to make it 3-2. So a disappointing season goes on for Everton. They're sort of just stuck there in mid-table. They had more possession in this game, more passes, but it was very even. But Watford just scored more goals. That's how football works. So Watford are now up to 7th. They've got, mostly due to their home form, they've got 4 wins out of 8. Everton's away form, Everton are 9th. Their away form, 5 defeats out of 8, with only 2 wins away from home. So that's really what's making their season go so badly. So next up we have Arsenal against Stoke, and I took that to be a home win, and I was correct. It finished Arsenal 3, Stoke 1, and Stoke took the lead in the first half from a Charlie Adam penalty. I think I remember Wenger saying that it wasn't a penalty, but as far as I saw, the Arsenal defender put his elbow right through the Stoke player's face, so there's not much you can do there. It's a penalty. Then just before half time, Walcott equalised, scoring his 100th goal in English football, 95 of which have been for Arsenal. And then just at the start of the second half, Mesut Ozil made it 2-1, and then 15 minutes from the end, Alex Iwobi made it 3-1. So as of Saturday evening, that temporarily put Arsenal on top of the table. I won't do any spoilers, but they were top of the table for a while, and their good run continues. I think the footballing gods decided that they continue to not want Arsenal to win the Champions League, as in the draw today they got Bayern Munich in the next round of the Champions League for the 4th time in 5 years. So good luck, Arsenal. Next up we have the game between Burnley and Bournemouth, and I took this to be a home win, and I was right. It finished Burnley 3, Bournemouth 2. So Bournemouth came back down to earth after beating Liverpool the week before. There was 2 early goals for Burnley from Jeff Hendrick and Stephen Ward, and then just before the half-time interval, Benik Afobe pulled a goal back for Bournemouth to make it 2-1. George Boyd made it 3-1 with 15 minutes to go, and then in stoppage time, Bournemouth pulled a goal back through Charlie Daniels. So Burnley doing quite well this season. They're steady. They've won 5 games this season, and all 5 have been at home. One of them again against my team, Liverpool. So if it wasn't for that, their away form's terrible. 1 draw, 5 defeats. And as for Bournemouth, so Burnley's now 13th and Bournemouth are 12th. So they're sitting there in that wee middle section of the mid-table. let me see, Burnley are 5 points above the relegation zone, but it's still early in the season. It's not quite Christmas yet. So next up we have Hull versus Crystal Palace, and I took that to be an away win, and I was wrong. This one was Hull 3, Crystal Palace 3. As you can see, there's been a lot of goals this weekend. So in this game, Hull took the lead with a Robert Snodgrass penalty, which was never a penalty. It's one of those ones. Did he dive? Well, he says he didn't, but there was definitely no contact. Snodgrass thought the defender was going to slide in on him, so he jumped, but the defender didn't jump in on him, so therefore he just dived to the ground and he won his team a penalty. So you decide, is that a dive or bad refereeing? Which one is it? So from what I can see here, it's a bit of a dirty game. There was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yellow cards in the game, of which 4 were in the first half, so a bit of a testy first half. So for a match that finished 3-3, it was only 1-0 at half time. Crystal Palace then equalised just after half time with a Christian Benteke penalty. Wilfred Zaha scored the second with 20 minutes to go with a ferocious shot after taking it round a few players. Adama Diomande equalised just 2 minutes later to make it 2-2. Jake Livermore then made it 3-2 to Hull before, in just 89th minute, Fraser Campbell pulled it back to 3-3. So what does that do for the table? Well, Hull are still in the relegation zone. They are on 12 points, just 1 point above Sunderland, and Crystal Palace are just 3 points above the relegation zone in 15th place. So it's going to be hard going for both of them. So next up we have Swansea versus Sunderland. This was 2 of the bottom 3 teams playing again. I don't know, different type of football. Playing against each other. I took it to be a draw, and it was Swansea 3, Sunderland 0, which was only Swansea's 3rd win of the season. So it was 0-0 at half time, and then in the 51st minute, Gylfi Sigurdsson put Swansea 1-0 up with a penalty. The Spaniard Fernando Llorente made it 2-0, and then he added a third 10 minutes from the end to wrap it up and make it comfortable. So that result put Sunderland to the bottom of the table, and it moved Swansea up to 18th. So both teams are still in the relegation zone, and still going to be a tight Christmas period for them, or tight rest of the season really. Next up we have Leicester versus Man City. This was the afternoon game or the evening kickoff for Saturday, and I took it for an away win, and I was wrong. So it finished Leicester 4, Manchester City 2. So Leicester got off to a great start. Jamie Vardy scored his first goal in 16 games after just 3 minutes, and then Andy King added a second with a lovely curling shot into the top corner to make it 2-0 after only 5 minutes. Vardy then added his second to make it 3-0 after 20 minutes, and that's the way it stayed until 10 minutes from the end. Jamie Vardy got his hat-trick after a mistake from John Stones. What do you think? Is James Stones worth all the hype that he got for his big money move to Man City? Or is he just is he a good player for middle of the road teams, but whenever he moves one of those players that whenever they move to a big team, just becomes a small fish in a big pond. So it was a mistake from John Stones with a back pass, without realising that Jamie Vardy was behind him, and from a very tight angle, Vardy managed to get it in to make it 4-0. So then 3 minutes later, in the 82nd minute, a lovely free kick from Alexander Kolarov made it 4-1, and then in the injury time, Nolito made it 4-2 with a smart finish near the end. So those two late goals really, you could almost say, took the gloss off the win for City, for Leicester City. But Man City could have got a bigger hammering. I was saying to people at work, I thought this result was a bigger surprise than Bournemouth beating Liverpool last week, because everyone knows Liverpool have a poor defence, and Bournemouth weren't too bad at home, whereas Leicester were on a really bad run. If things had went differently, Leicester could have found themselves in the relegation zone this weekend, but their win helped them up. So next up we come to Sunday's first game, which was Chelsea against West Brom. I took that for a home win, and I was right. It was all downhill from there. So that finished Chelsea 1, West Brom 0, and a bit of a feisty game. There was 6 yellow cards in it, 4 for West Brom. So the match was 0-0 at half time, and then with 15 minutes to go, Chelsea's main man, Diego Costa, scored to make it 1-0, and that's the way it finished. So Chelsea leapfrogged back over Arsenal. They're top of the league. They have 37 points to Arsenal's 34, and West Brom are in 8th place, nice and comfortable, although there's 3 teams there in the middle on 20 points. So next up, it was Man U versus Tottenham Hotspur, and I took this one to be a draw, and I was wrong. Manchester United finally got around to winning a game at home. So it was Manchester United 1, Tottenham 0. So Henrik Mkhitaryan scored for United midway through the first half, put them 1-0 up, and that's the way it stayed. Again, another bit of a feisty game I see here. There's 3, 6, another game with 6 yellow cards. So Spurs season, sort of average season. What I'm saying is they haven't really pushed on after coming so close to winning the title last year. This season's a bit of a nah. They've a good home form, but their away form, too many draws. Whereas Manchester United, that was a real 6-pointer, because Manchester United were 3 points behind them. Sorry, they were 6 points behind them. So now they're only 3 points behind. So United stay in 6th, and Spurs stay in 5th. So next up, we have Southampton versus Middlesbrough, which I took to be a draw, and I was wrong. It was Southampton 1, Middlesbrough 0. So that game was 0-0 at half time, and then just at the start of the second half, Sylvain Buffal put Southampton 1-0 up, and they were able to hold on for the rest of the game. And so that has kept them, they're bang on mid-table. They're 10th on 20 points, and Middlesbrough stay just above the relegation zone. I suppose one of the best things going for Middlesbrough is their good goal difference. The bottom, they are 5th bottom, and they have a -3 goal difference, but the 4 teams beneath them is -14, -12, -18, -13. So they're keeping things tight. I read today that Southampton have lost their main striker Charlie Austin for 4 months. Apparently he dislocated his shoulder during the match. So that is a shock, and it will be a big loss for Southampton. And then finally, Liverpool versus West Ham. I think I will just stop predicting what Liverpool will do because it is not doing well for me. So I took that to be a home, and I was wrong. It was Liverpool 2, West Ham 2. So Liverpool got off to a good start. Adam Lallana scored in the 5th minute, and then after 27 minutes, Dimitri Payet equalised with a free kick that the goalkeeper should have done better with. Then 5 minutes before the break, Michael Antonio made it 2-1 to West Ham. So then, just at the start of the second half, Divock Origi equalised for Liverpool, and that's the way it stayed. Liverpool had most of the possession, as you would expect, and most of the shots, but they couldn't find their way through. So yet again, another week, another goalkeeping mistake costs Liverpool. And the way Chelsea's playing, no team can afford to keep making mistakes. That was Chelsea's 9th win in a row. So just to finish off this video, I'll just say Chelsea are top, 37 points. Arsenal are second on 34. Liverpool are third on 31. Man City are fourth on 30. And in the bottom three, Swansea are 18th with 12. Hull are 19th with 12. And Sunderland are 20th with 11 points. So last week I got 6 out of 10. And this week I got a massive 3 out of 10. So I think that's just nothing more than a great big fail. Okay, thanks very much, and I'll see you again on Friday night when I'll do a preview of this weekend's fixtures. Okay, cheerio, bye.